I think this is the brightest idea I've ever had. Today I'm going to show you how I actually installed downlights within my ceiling. The biggest problem that I actually have with my ceiling is I can't get to the floor above. So I've got to do all my wiring from within this room. I'm going to show you how I marked out where I want my lights to be. More importantly, that is the most important part. If the lights are too close, it can make the room quite narrow. If the lights are far apart, you're putting lights shining down directly on people sitting below them, which is not always a good thing. So I'm going to show you where I put the location of my lights, how I ran the wire to each light, and the basic tools you may need to do this job. What you see here are some of the tools that you may need and some tools that you will need. For example, you will need an electrical screwdriver and some other handheld tools along the way as well. This little gadget I recommend because this thing saved my life many times. Quite simple in its operation. Inside there's a red light. When you put it next to a live wire, if that red light glows, you know the wire carrying electricity. If it doesn't glow up, you know that wire is not carrying electricity and you know it's safe to work on. That, for a couple pound, I highly recommend getting. You need some wire cutters. You can strip the wire by hand by using a Stanley blade. These things do so much neater and quicker. Wire cutters to obviously cut the wire. I will be using a hole saw. See, that needs to be attached to a power drill to use it properly. The reason why I'm using a hole saw is because it cuts the hole perfect every time. Make sure you got the right size. On the back of the box of which your light comes in, it actually tells you what size hole it needs to cut. So once you know that, you then know what size this needs to be. There is another way you can cut the hole by using a compass, marking on the ceiling where it's got to be, and then drilling a pilot hole and then use a hacksaw to cut the hole. I'll be needing a chisel and a mallet. I can't get to the ceiling above. Obviously you'll need some wire. Lighting wire is 1.0 mil. I go for the heavy duty lighting wire, which is 1.5. This is like twin and earth. So you've got your live neutral and then you've got your earth wire. I always go for the heavy duty lighting wire because it just makes better sense if you're having more than one light. You will need dust sheets and you will need a platform to step on. These things, again, I highly recommend. So with that being said, let's get on with the next stage. Next step is now to work out where you want your lights to be. As you can see, I've got a sunken ceiling. If you're curious how you install a sunken ceiling, go back and watch my stage 2 how to install a sunken ceiling video. I think a sunken ceiling brings character into room, but it does give its complication. For example, when you want downlights, where do you fit your downlights? Now it's best to simply ignore the fact you've got a sunken ceiling or any form of feature. Just go straight off the walls and divide it into 3. That's my opinion. Other people might have different opinions, but nonetheless that's what I've done. I've got the total length, divided it into 3, and I found out one there and one there is where I wanted the light. Now the reason why I think that's a good measurement, because if you bring the light too close in, you could actually give a corridor or channel effect where you sort of want the light to be a bit wider out, and it can actually make the room itself feel wider than it actually is. And that goes for the same with the length as well. I found the centre of the room, which was here. That's where I made my first mark. I know what this measurement is because I divided this into 3, so I knew that's where my first light will be. I then, from this point, I measured from the halfway to the wall and I divided that in 2. That then gave me my second reference for my second light, and likewise for my third one back here. I then obviously made those marks. Once I've made those marks, I sat down on the floor and I just looked up at the ceiling for 10 minutes just to make sure the lights were exactly where I wanted them to be. Once you cut these holes, it's a bit of a nightmare to repair again, so you want to make sure you get it right the first time. But even before you cut the holes, when you've marked them out, you want to drill a pilot hole within the ceiling first, get your screwdriver, fit that up into the hole and have a little wiggle around as much as you can. If you make your pilot hole a bit bigger, it needs to be to make sure that there's nothing within it, make it a bit bigger. But you really want to make sure that there's no joists or beams in the way, because it's a lot easier to fill in a tiny hole than it is a big hole. Once you've established that on every hole that there's no joist in the way, then you can then go ahead and cut the hole like I'm about to now. So because I've been doing all my installation from within this area here, again, not from above, I now got to work out where my beams are. So to do that, I'll be simply getting my measuring tape, feeling the inside of the hole, finding where it stops, 5.5 inches or 14 centimetres, and I'll be marking there. So I know a beam's there. I'll be also doing it from the other side, 31 centimetres, and I'll be marking that one there. I'll be doing them on all the others, because what I need to do is drop the wires and then bring my last wire back up here to make the connection. First, I've got to get the wires through the ceiling. Right, now that the holes are done, it's now time to install the light. Now the good thing about these sort of lights is the fact you've got two ports. So for example, you can have your live wire going into one side, and have your live wire also coming out, go to the next light, and so forth and so forth. What that means is, instead of having 6 wires going off to each light and then having your junction block absolutely overwhelmed with wires, you can simply have one wire going off and then each wire jumping off each light, making the connection. So now all the lights are installed, all we have to do now is find the wire that is feeding your current lamp and connect it onto the first lamp that feeds your new circuit. Now I'm quite fortunate, my wire is here. So all I have to do is disconnect this wire, pull the wire through and connect it onto that, and then turn the power back on and it should all illuminate. And there we are, some nice easy steps of how to swap over your single light to some nice down lights. I hope you found that video quite easy and straightforward. If you do so, please consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because there are more videos that I have done to actually how to remodel this living room. There are several videos, step by step, how I made the TV unit, how I made the mantle, how I done the flooring, literally every step possible that you would need to know of how to build your own room like so. I hope you found that video quite easy and straightforward. If you do so, please consider giving me a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So, welcome back to the channel. No, I'm not going to do that. Stage 5, 6, 7, lost count. Who cares? In this video, I say in this video, I understand you will know how to install downlights. What? But you can't gain access to the ceiling above? This is the video for you then, isn't it, son? Isn't it? Son, have it. I'm going to get myself a beer in a minute, I'll wet and whistle. I installed downlights. I'm going to show you rather how I installed downlights in my ceiling. I'm going to show you step by step how to mark out, how to install the lights electrically, physically, emotionally, pathically. There's other ones there, but I can't film them. Oh yeah, don't forget to get a electrical safety test, guide, checker, thingamajiggy to come around to check your dodgy electrics, because you know health and safety matter a lot. You don't want your house burn down because you decide to watch a YouTube channel and you think, oh, I'll give that a go because you know, I've been doing it for all 5 minutes now and I'm an expert.